Well, I got a little problem. Starting to see some major rust around the bathtub overflow drain. So we're going to kind of do a quick down and dirty fix of this problem. First I want to do is take this off. Hopefully it's not too corroded on there. And we're lucky it's not. Now I don't know what caused these. I never noticed them when I first bought the tub, but slowly over the years, the tub's about 8 years old, it started to show a little bit of rust. So I think it was a defect when we got it. I'm going to tape up around it, a couple inches back. I don't really care a whole lot as long as it looks a little bit better than it looks now. And this is not a cast iron tub, this is one of those cheap steel tubs, so you can't expect them to last forever. And I'm going to give it a light sand with some 150 grit. And I'm going to change the paper a few times because I'm sure there's a little bit of soap in this. I will admit a better job would be to take this off, but I really don't want to get into replacing that, and this is a quick fix, and I could always do it again if I needed to. And I'm going to stand all the way out to the edge of the tape just because I want to scuff it up so the paint has a better chance of sticking. It already looks a lot better. And now I'm going to wash it with a little bit of alcohol. Alcohol helped get rid of some of the soap and maybe oils from shampoos and perfumes or whatever else that might be in here. Wipe it a couple of times. First coat probably just loosens a lot of it up. And I'm going to also wipe out any rust, stuff that might have fell. I don't want it to start rusting on the bottom. And I can see there's a little bit of rust right here. And a different piece of sandpaper. And I'm going to lightly sand it again. Let it dry a little bit, make sure, and then just wipe it off if there's any dust that might be on here from the sanding. And I got some navel jelly, which hopefully is going to turn any rust residue into something that won't rust. It says here it dissolves rust from metal surfaces. Now you're not supposed to dip the brush in and out, so I'm just going to get a fairly healthy serving of this gel and do the whole thing with that. There's little fine scratches in here, and I'm hoping this will help. And that's pretty much all I can do for now until this navy jelly does its thing. It's to rinse off after 5 or 10 minutes. Now it's got a thing, and I'm just going to wipe it down. I wiped it down, rinsed it good, and now I'm giving it the afternoon to dry, and I'll pick up some paint and I'll paint it tonight. Now we're just going to tape it up so we try not to get too much overspray on the bathtub. I've been shaking up some Rust-Oleum primer. It's actually an automotive primer. I figured it might be a little bit better than just a regular primer, because this is rusty metal, even though I've actually got most of it cleaned up. But I've shook it up for about 5 minutes now, and I'm going to go and give it not a heavy coat, but a couple of light coats. I'm going to let this dry, I don't know. I'll read the can, whatever it says, and I'll tell you what it says. I haven't read it yet, but I'm guessing probably about an hour. Room kind of smells, so I'm going to get out of here right now. The primer recommended that you put a second coat on, but since I put such a heavy first coat, I decided not to. They say it's better to put 2 thin coats rather than 1 thick coat. But I got 1 thick coat on there. I didn't want to have to sand it and didn't want any dry spots, you know, that feel real rough. So that's kind of the reason I went for 1 heavy coat. It's not a super heavy coat, but it's heavier than I would have liked. But anyway, so I'm getting ready to paint the bathtub. But hopefully I got a match. This is the color of the cap, and hopefully it's pretty close. I had about 5 caps to pick from, so this is the closest I could find at Home Depot to match the tub. The lady there said don't use the paint, the spray can. She said recommended that I buy this epoxy kit. It would probably last a lot better, but it was $36 for the kit. And realistically, that's just buying me a little more time. All I'm doing with this is buying a little more time. You know, if I maintain this, I might get another 5 years out of this bathtub. It's a metal tub. They don't usually last much more than 10. Just like the primer, you have to either paint it within an hour or wait 48 hours before your top coat. The primer, the same thing, like before a second coat or whatever. You have to either do it within an hour or wait 48 hours. So now we're getting ready to put the second and probably the last coat. It's been about 45 minutes. So this one might be a little heavier than the last one. I decided I'm going to go ahead and put a third coat on because why not? Go out and watch some TV, come back in here in about 45 minutes, put the last coat on. I think this coat's going to be a little too dark, but yeah, I'd rather have it a little too dark than a little too light, and also I'd rather have it a little too dark than have the rusty stains all over the tub. 55 minutes later, time to spray. and we're done. Well, I know you're not supposed to do this, but I can never wait. It's been about 2 hours since I painted it, and you're really supposed to wait, you know, a couple days or whatever before untaping, or at least not to the next day. But I can't ever wait. A little darker, just like I feared. I was actually trying to match one of the bathtubs at Home Depot, and who knows how close it was. So I probably should have brought the caps back here and checked. But I'm just more concerned with the rust spot. And I also am doing a test to see how long this paint lasts. I'm going to give it probably, today's Friday night, or actually Thursday night, like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to probably give it till like maybe Tuesday before we use the bathtub. So let it get good and hard and see how it feels. It's still fairly sticky. Yeah, it really doesn't look so bad. Way better than the stain, although it could have been a closer match. Maybe next time.